Hey, what's going on? This is Amputee University talking about step 3 to your recovery, um, which today is going to include the fact that you're probably pissed off. You're probably pissed off, your leg is gone, and rightfully so. You're realizing, you know what? I used to be able to do all these things, and now everything is much harder. Perhaps you're thinking, why did this happen to me? And you know what? I think all that's normal, and I think everybody has to go through that. That's why I wanted to include it in step 3 before I got into, beginning the process of kind of getting into shape to handle what is to come. But, that mental emotional piece is a huge part of recovery. And I was thinking, like, when you first come home, you're realizing things are tough. Maybe your family doesn't know how to handle it yet either, and you're kind of figuring it out together and you're getting frustrated with each other. I think all that's normal. But I think the key is, especially as the amputee, to have a positive, constructive conversation about what your expectations are, how you're feeling, and what you would like to see from them. Like I said before, I think it's healthy to try to do as much as you can on your own. I think it might be people's instinct, especially people in your family, to overextend themselves and maybe cater to you, and that actually might become annoying. I don't know. For me, it would be. So if you're the kind of person who's independent, thinking, that's probably going to get old real quick. So when those frustrations start to build, I think the key is you guys have to sit down and clearly communicate, what you want, what the appropriate way to react is, expressing yourself when you do need help, because that's going to happen too. And actually, I think it's like anything else. I mean, if you're not feeling that productive, what do you need to do? I think this is what you should do, especially if you're out of work. I think when you first come home, even though you're not working, you should set up some kind of a schedule. You wake up at such and such a time, you eat at such and such a time, you work out, you do an activity you enjoy, you relax, you get out of the house, you get some fresh air. Like, set up a daily routine, because if you don't do that, that's when I think you kind of get in that rut. Try to do something where you're going to feel productive each day. I think it would be very important to do some form of exercise every day, build up your body. That's going to benefit you down the road when you get a prosthetic. And I think for some people, they're just going to take off and they're going to start, building back their body, and they're going to get right back into life. But I think some other people, it hits them differently, and they kind of slip into a rut. And again, I think if you're really into a rut, you got to seek counseling and see what you can do there and kind of work things out mentally. You have to get into a better place. So once you get into that better place, and hopefully you never get into that rut, at some point, if you want to recover and kind of get out of this thing, I believe you have to build up your body. I think you have to start, making a conscious effort to do an exercise routine, because again, that's all going to benefit you down the road with prosthetics and recovery. So I think I'm going to end that episode there. I feel like I had to talk about the mental, emotional stuff today before I get into, like working out and seeking out a prosthetist. Because I was thinking, in all reality, that's going to happen. You're going to come home, and you're going to realize this kind of sucks, and it's going to hit you. And I think everybody goes through that. It's just a matter of how you handle it, what kind of help you seek if you need it. I think for me, when I first came home, I had a good support system, I think, generally with my family. Trust me, my family wasn't perfect, but generally they were supportive. And I think the key for them was they didn't really treat me that much different when I came home. So I think the key for me was my family had like unspoken high expectations of me recovering. They never let me believe that because I was, an amputee, the expectation would be any lower. The expectation would be the same. It's just I'd have to figure it out. So I think that's a key for you too. I think you have to surround yourself with people who aren't going to make excuses for you, who are supportive but tough. You know what I mean? They're going to expect that you achieve even though you've been given this card. And I think you should believe the same thing of yourself. And I think that mentality and those people who adopt that mentality of no excuses will be the ones to make it and be, reaching their best level, so to speak. So keep these things in mind. I feel like this is kind of a complicated conversation because it's going to be a little different for everybody. But to summarize, you're going to come home. I can't imagine at some point you're not going to be pissed off. I can't imagine at some point there's not going to be some strife within the family because of all these changes. So the key is open communication. Try to keep it positive and constructive. It's going to be easy to lash out on people, but really try to tamp that down because your family's trying to help you and they love you. So be patient even when you get frustrated. Try to clearly communicate your frustrations to them and clearly communicate what you would like to see change or see different. I hope that helps. I feel like it was a little bit rambling, this segment, but anyhow, if you like this video, like it. If you want to subscribe, that would be fantastic. Have a good night.